for possibly the greatest automotive technology in the world. Okay, I'm just being a little bit goofy right now, but seriously, it's made by the RedHouse Mining Company, and it has a lot of features, such as the potassium chemical flover, which, if you don't know what that is, a very toxic chemical that can actually make cars. And even river cars, such as these ones. Such ones that make other ants, like on the porch. Possibly the most stupid design of the RedHouse. Look at these ants. They're really big. Anyway, possibly one of the stupidest designs. One of the stupidest designs of the RedHouse is before, when we didn't have these kinds of fences. The reason why that's stupid is because this is 22 meters up, you feel me? And when you're that high, you're sure to fall. There have been like babies who accidentally fallen past there, all the way down to those little rocks down there, those big rocks. Yeah, there was a lot of mistakes. And only a few months ago, in around August or September 2023, they built this. The greatest fence in humanity. That's why I love it anyway. I have RedHouse mates. I'm saying it like that because it's almost like roommates, but it's instead of that. Roommates meaning like people who live with you in your apartment. I have both of them. Speaking of roommates, mates is the only one, the only one we could use that has a clover amount. Meaning, if you're bisexual, you'd know the idea. What I'm talking about is there are only a few things we can do in the RedHouse right now, and it's kind of boring. That's why I talk a lot about RedHouse improvements on my channel, because. And on my second channel, Redolia, has about 446,000 subscribers. It's my main Redolian channel. Has a lot more than this. I also have a TikTok on there with about 10,000 followers. However, things like dandelions still come in handy during planting, like Redolian improvements and stuff like that. However, there's also a RedHouse garage like over here. Let's enter it. Hold on. But before you do, look at the snail. Look at this snail. It even has like a cool design.
Oh yeah, it does too.
That's pretty cool. Anyway. So yeah, we're in the garage now. We're in the garage. This is a special machine. I'm going to talk about it later. Let's explore the inside of this. But I actually have a lot of things to show you on the outside of the RedHouse or whatever before we go into there or into there. And as it turns out, even though there are things like certain types of weeds that are pulled out the ground hand by hand, they are incredibly hard to do so, and are almost like pulling out a metal bar made of phosphorus out of the cement. Seriously, look it up. However, even though it's not that easy to do, let's keep digging. Literally. And with just our hands. Let me show you. But before we do, this is one of the Redolian dandelions I talked about in a YouTube short I made. Sometimes I just shake it around and wish that Redolia and the RedHouse would improve, even though it's already so great. So let's dig with our hands. And yes, this is very possible. Already we're finding a certain type of rock. This is not dirt or sand magma. This is a special type of rock that is covered in dirt. As a matter of fact, let's wash this big boy up. And I call it a big boy because this almost feels like phosphorus now. a type of rock that can get up to 130 meters. Literally. And people think that it's part of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, or even the one that was responsible for the creation of the moon, basically. Let's turn this baby up. Now I got a hose, and we're gonna wash this rock way up. It's a little bit tricky since I have a long sleeve shirt. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put this down. Already getting wet. This looks like a magma moy, so it's a little bit different. Magma moys are a bit smaller than 130. I think they're more like 43 maybe meters. But this is only a piece of it, so it doesn't matter. But this is a clover snail. There are different kinds of clover bugs that are only found in really, gosh dang, my hand is messy. But there are things like clover ants, spiders, flies, and etc. And even clover butterflies. And they can get to impressive sizes, especially in the east part of the country. I'll catch you up after I wash my hands, because this is a filthy mess. I want to talking about this machine because it is amazing. All you have to do is turn this lever and it closes up. This is actually a very famous work tool. However, in the RedHouse, it's even cooler. We even have a bigger version of this, but I'm not sure where it is. It's probably locked up in the RedHouse storage room or the staff room. However, let's do something. Let's put something like a simple pair of scissors in it. Oh, watch this. We're gonna have to hold it together. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me set you guys up right here. So these are the scissors. To make it even cooler, let's set it up right here. Watching? Because this is insane. Ah! And now we can try to pull it like this, and it replicates a woman dancing. At least that's what I see it as. It's almost kind of joyful to see that because it means that the RedHouse is slowly improving and that our designs are only going to get better and better and better. For example, the metal we used to do that may get squished in a population crisis, kind of. It's like a hydraulic press. And because the metal will get pressed, it will go in then a liquid state. And that liquid state will continue to grow and grow in a pattern known as psychosis. Not to be confused with psychosis, a form of schizophrenia. Psychosis, it's spelled C-Y-C-O-S-U-S. Psychosis is the form of hard metal turning into liquid when pressed in, say, a hydraulic press, or the press we used, known as a RedHouse metal press, also known as RMP. Now, I understand that a lot of that metal continuous goes kind of in a form of state, which is in basically like, if you start to make a video about that, it won't be that graphic. For example, if you won't be able to see what's going on in there unless you have a hydraulic press cam like they use on those satisfying video things. And I'm very happy right now because I'm seeing a cat. And there's a cat right there, look! Okay, I think it's getting scared. Let me leave it alone. But most of the metal hydraulic presses are used in like certain types of plastics as well. And in the plastics they use, they're almost continue. That cat is the cutest thing in the world. They're almost continuous, a sort of pattern. And when they're continued like that, more and more patterns are used gradually and more gradually as it comes on, which leads to a form of metal pressing like things like that, and it causes metal to be compressed in another way, where it gets squished and forms into a different shape, which is not as cool, but it's still very useful. think that's one of the dandelion things I blew. Still though, as it seems to be a little bit more like atrocious, even though it's not like very old, it's still kind of in progress actually. It is already one of the coolest things in the world in my opinion. And even though it states in that kind of biblicophobia and that kind of metal, there is still not enough we know about that metal to actually make things like cars in a certain type of form. And though it's still not like pressed up against our knowledge of like certain types of living beings that can be pressed in there and made into metal, possibly, it's still unknown. And the fair wealth of, say, anyone, really, can be pressed in that thing since it costs over $4,000. But in the RedHouse, it probably costs millions of dollars, in my opinion, because I'm one of the RedHouse workers, and I know that the RedHouse is a very rich company, especially in things like the RedHouse Mining Company, where there's things like salts and stuff like that need to be dug and transported all around the world, like whether it's through trains or trucks or planes or whatever, or like even river cars, like this bad boy. There's still things like salts that we still haven't dug up. However, there's still a lot of salts that we have dug up, but salts is only one of the things you can dig up in the RedHouse Mining Company, and this is the RedHouse Mining Company right here. It's small, about 82 meters small, but that's not including this part of the RedHouse Mining Company either. Let me show you. So check this part out right here. It goes all the way back there, like way down there, and then it continues down there. And then there's this bad boy right here, which is made out of certain types of metal and salts that are used for the company. So this bad boy right here, it's called a siphon. And in a siphon, there's a certain type of fan that blows and blows and blows. And you see the plants that are right next to it? These are called molluscin. Molluscin is a certain type of plant that grows like broccoli and stuff. And why that's important is because you see these plants are very fragile and a lot of them die. And this fan helps to actually fertilize the seeds, and a lot of the seeds unfortunately get trapped, like as you see right there. However, there's another version of it called silicin. Silicin is this bad boy right here, also known as a listening siphon, and it listens to the audio tapes of certain types of like certain types of sounds that are caused by like the mining company, and the certain type of tube that is under it in that cement piece down there. As you can see, that cement, there's a tube inside that, like a certain type of hose, and it connects to this hose right here. And while water's coming out of it, audio tapes are recorded in this thing right here and send signals to little things right here. And that's why there's this thing that is not far from that kind of stuff that is one of the Bredolian secrets. And I don't know anything about this bad boy at all. I'm saying bad boy a lot today because, I don't know, just to be like what the cool kids are saying nowadays. However, it takes a while to go here, but let me show you something very important. So you see this tube right here? It contains all the water needed to like make supplies for the hose down there and enter that siphon down there. And this thing wasn't just invented for the RedHouse to look fancy and like a hotel, especially from this view right here. No. This thing is important. Notice how the seeds have fallen on there. If you're under this thing, you'll see what I mean. You can see little grids, and when the seeds get trapped in there, it sends information to this bad boy right here. It's called a siphon net, and it's a type of technology also known as a flex net. It's a type of technology that records how many audio files have been recorded in one sitting. It records what the speed and what the coding of all this like thing that is sent information from this bell port right here to send information to this code right here. And since this is the literal thing right here, it is always sending signals, and it's also sending electricity from this thing and this thing. It's kind of fun to play with. It doesn't cause any harm, but also, like, don't for too long. But like I said, this little hose thing right here leads to footage from this security camera right here. And I love it. You can see it right here, and the camera's currently pointing this way. All right? The security camera is not just used for that, but also, like, if someone tries to intrude or rob, the security camera also sends signals to the audio recorder, and that security camera also contains audio from this thing right here. Also, it can also send certain types of signals to this thing right here called the gas outlet. You can see it right here, gas outlet. Now this thing contains a lock, but when you open it, you can see all the gas from like the audio tapes of certain things right here, which is the main reason that this audio siphon and this security camera are able to work. And when you go inside, down the basement, way down, like to the bottom floor, and open this door up, you can see all like the little tubes and stuff that are connected to all that. And that bad boy down there is called a audio siphon recorder. And when you go to the room, like when you go in the room, you can see that there's a lot of audio tapes. But be careful in that room because electricity could vibrate to your body and cause you to die from getting electrocuted. However, the audio tapes from that are not very well known. It's still a work in progress. However, if you check this thing outside, you can see that there are a lot of things that are actually a lot cooler than that. For example, it's still connected to all this, but it's a lot cooler than the bell tape. And you can see like down here. And I'm just kind of educating you guys on what this is. And you can see that, you see all these cracks inside right here? Under these cracks, there are little wires way underground, about 55 meters underground. That's about 175 feet. Goddamn. I mean, goddamn. Anyway, they're all sent to this post right here. There are a lot of them. And believe it or not, but you can see that there's some over here, and some of them actually send signals to another hose down here. In the front part of the house, like the east part of the RedHouse, you can see that all of that connects to this little tube right here, which is controlled by certain type of like salts and stuff like that. If you know electric use, you know what I mean. And if you know janitors, you know what I'm talking about. This thing right here is a tube connected to the upper portlet. Bro, they're automotive systems. What the heck? Anyway, this tube right here connects to the roof and sends yet even more signals down the little thing right here. In there is some wires. And then it sends signals to a cubic meters. Now, a cubic metrus, this says a cubic metrus. It's also known as a gas fuel machine. And a gas fuel machine, what it does is it counts the number of systems that are even used. Through these pipes, and through this right here is a certain type of I thought there was a spider on me for a sec. Through these types of things is a certain type of spinning moving blade. Bro, the automotive system, what the? Anyway, there was a little spider on my butt anyway. Through that is a little spinning machine called a circlet, which goes through the pipes into that thing, which is a moving saw blade, which sends signals to any seeds that get dropped in there. And through that, you can see that then it's gone down to here, and it's imported how many seeds have been going in this little pot in the past week. In the past week, there have been 29,953 seeds that have entered this part right here. And the electricity is used to secure the security camera as well. And then it goes right in here. So it goes down here through this little entryway down this, and then through an invisible tube into there, and then into here, but there's actually a little spider right there. And then it goes through this tube right here. And I'm going to show you where the tube leads to. Whew. I feel like I'm doing parkour, running away from security as I'm committing an illegal crime like robbery, which this is actually for. And that is another security camera. This is also used for surveillance, and it's actually pointing at me, but it'll recognize that I'm a RedHouse worker, and it actually identifies the name of a person through a certain app. And it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool because while I keep getting distracted by this cool snail. Look at the snail. It's pretty cool. But anyway, it is pretty interesting because though there is a little bit of stuff that we don't know, the security camera is used for surveillance. But through an app, you can see the gist of it all. Through a certain type of app called equipment, there is actually a secret footage feature where you can click security footage. And though it's not perfect, it's okay. While I say it's not perfect, it's because only RedHouse workers can get the premium effect for that. And while premium effects can cost a few dollars, that's only for RedHouse workers. In fact, if you go to the equipment app and go there, it says, become a RedHouse worker today. And it'll have to give you some information to confirm you're 15 and over and yada yada. However, there are still some stuff that are interesting. The certain types of security footage allows to identify any human or really any object, and it'll tell you information about it. Like if you see a robbery, you can see how many crimes he's committed, how old he is, because it'll recognize all 8 billion people. That is true. And you can even go to which websites the people have gone to. And what I do is a secret message. And it's the most interesting thing in the world. Because you can go to the Wayback Machine, to those websites. And through the websites, you can go through the Wayback Machine and see what it was like in the past. Then all you have to do is click the 3 dots, go to Time Machine, click Surveillance, click More, and then click Identifying Apps. Then it'll have to scan and see if you're a RedHouse worker, because the Wayback Machine also allows that feature. However, again, it's not perfect, but during that equipment app, you can see it will identify if it's a RedHouse worker, and it will basically tell you if you're eligible to do that, and then it'll give you a message saying the following: security footage shown. Then it will show which security cameras has footage. Right now, I'm in the RedHouse, or actually outside the RedHouse, but in the RedHouse community. Shout out to it. Shout out to it. However, there's another feature that you can do even if you're not a RedHouse worker. You can still see stuff on normal security apps. And if you have equipment, there's a feature where you just do those tutorials and click and select connect with equipment. And it will cost about $5. That's okay though. Even if it costs $5, so what? It is the greatest thing in the world for $5. That's like buying a thing at the dollar store. I just realized, you see those wires right there? They're connected to the security camera too. You can even see RedHouse security cameras, like if you go to insacam.org. Highly do not recommend going there because it's not that secure. You can go to connect with equipment and see all the cameras from the RedHouse. You don't have to be a RedHouse worker to do that. Let's continue identifying. But first, one more thing. For the machines that connect with water, there are little grids on here called siphons. Yeah, I know, this is a siphon. These are siphons. Okay? You can also name them siphon grids to be like one of those school kids. And they connect right here. Right here is the little thing that connects to all that. And there's a little hose as well that you can turn. Highly do not recommend doing that because it could damage some crops and etc. Oh, there keeps being spiders on me. What the Anyway. Those kinds of siphons are pretty interesting. But also, the bridge that is under construction also has something to do with it. This is called the RedHouse Bridge, and this is the very center of it. It will be used to transport items to items via cars and not just other places. It will send different kinds of traffic and devices, meaning it's going to be a new way to get to transporting items and use a completely new technology to get to those transportings. And they're called fishermen's. Fishermen's are the interesting part of human trafficking that is legal. You can use someone's identification and use it